Hi, so I wanted to come on and do kind of a little bit of a monthly check-in. I think I was calling it like a midweek and I was trying to figure out what to name it, but I think I just kind of settled on doing like a monthly check-in because I intend for these things to happen usually mid-month, but I'm just going to call them the once a month check-in, intuitive, oracle, tarot. Basically, what I'd like to do is just check in with myself and with you all and give some sort of energetic updates, sometimes with the cards, sometimes without the cards. Usually, right now, it's just turning into without the cards. So with that being said, I've put together some slides and I'm trying to figure out if I should just incorporate them in the final video. So if you see them, that means it worked. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So full moon Pisces, how did you guys feel Monday, depending on where you are in the world? How did you all feel on Monday? I would love to hear any feedback in the comments, or if you would just like to share privately, that's also great. I'll share what happened to me. So Monday morning, woke up. I have a regular routine that I've started to develop over probably back in May or June, where I started going back to the gym. What happened? So I show up at work, everything's fine, I'm getting myself settled in, and all of a sudden I start feeling really like, I kind of get this like pulsing energy a little bit. How did I describe this? There's just energy going through my body and it has nowhere to go. And so I start doing my somatic practice of, just shaking the energy out of my hands, like just giving it a place to release, an outlet to release before I get to the gym where I know that I'm going to actually release it. So I'm shaking my hands, I'm standing up and like stomping my feet just a little bit just to kind of ground myself, like just really getting into it. And I know my coworkers are like, what's she doing over there? But really I was grounding myself and trying to give myself an outlet for this excess energy that seemed to be traveling in my body. And then I just felt really, once I got past that, I felt I started feeling more of the energy welling up, but this time it was something like grief. That's the only way I can classify it. And when I say grief, it just felt like I needed to cry about something. I needed to release something in the form of tears. There wasn't a sadness attached to it. I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but it was that feeling of just needing to cry without knowing why. So that's what I did. I went to a private area and just, had my tears. And during, I kept trying to figure out, like, why am I crying? Why am I doing this? But I decided not, after a while, it was just like, I'm not even going to question it. I'm just going to let it out. And that's what I've been doing lately, is trying to honor whatever emotion is coming up, making sure that I take time to process that emotion versus stuffing it down and letting it live elsewhere in order to come back up at a future, sometimes inopportune moment. I don't want that to happen. And especially as someone who is a shadow work practitioner, I definitely want to make sure that I'm available to, to myself, and grounded in myself so that I can be available to others in that space. So yeah, that was my full moon Pisces. And the rest of the day, after just just went regularly. I got enough sleep that night. Full moon Pisces was pretty intense internally. But that's what Pisces is all about, right? And I will caveat, I'm not an astrologer. I'm just very in tune with the planets, things like that, and I like to study it. I would love to be able to study it someday. I actually just picked up one of my first astrology books not long ago. Well, no, when I say not long ago, I mean like in the last year and a half, 2 years. So I actually have it here. It is, I think hopefully it's not backwards, Llewellyn's New A to Z, and it's, I got it used, so it's not necessarily new, but that's what I've been kind of referencing when I'm doing more investigating on these planets and tarot cards and the connections and everything. So that being said, what else am I reading? One of my favorite books, and I always mention this book when I'm talking. I think like last year I mentioned the book a lot. Dancing in the Flames by Marion Woodman and Eleanor Dixon. So let me grab that one. So Dancing in the Flames. I'm gonna have to edit this video so there's no, so it's not backwards and looking crazy. But Dancing in the Flames, the Dark Goddess in the Transformation of Consciousness. And I got that book when I was going through my own bit of transformation, and I say that because I feel like, I'm going to go into the next point here. I feel like we are being pushed into this kind of a new way of being. And it could be that we're at we're at a change of the year. We're in Libra season, so that's a thing. It could be that we're feeling this movement into this kind of a rebalancing almost. But for me, this feels like it feels different than other times of the year that I've been through before and felt, that the changeover of the year. This feels different. And I don't know if it's because of what we've all been going through as a collective, as a globe, right, as a planet. But yeah, I just feel like we're being pushed into this new way of being, and I can understand that being pushed into a new way of being is sometimes, some people can't handle that push. Some people are being pushed in a way that is going to be very memorable for them. And a lot of times when we are pushed, there are people that can handle the push. There are other people that experience what I call a dark night of the soul. And what is a dark night of the soul, you might ask? So, I've experienced several dark nights of the soul, and it always seems to happen as I'm changing from one kind of level of maturity to the next level of maturity, and whatever you imagine those levels of maturity. But for me, my first dark night of the soul was actually in college. I smile because I have, to describe it, right? I might smile at these things, but only because my chart consists of, I have a Sagittarius moon. And so a lot of times we see Sagittarius moons will see things as through an optimistic lens. So looking back, I can look back at that time and just be really, really glad about what I learned during that time. But yeah, during college, I had this dark night of the soul. And I can only describe dark nights of the soul as, it really perfectly just describes itself, right? Let's see. Dark nights of the soul are typically times when you are just, it's as if you were just completely plunged into a place of having to find an answer or have an answer about your life that, this event has just brought forward, whatever event that might be. And the thing about dark nights of the soul is that they can last, sometimes you can be in them for a little while. And for me, what was helpful was allowing that space, first of all, to be, and then, being in acceptance of the space. But then also, what's the word? What was I going to say? So allowing yourself to be in that space, right? Understanding, okay, this is where I am. I can't move out of it very quickly. I can't stop it from happening. And I also can't go back. So it's actually realizing and being in this kind of it's almost as if time slows down and you're in this space and you cannot move. Like, you can't go forward, you can't go backward, you can't go sideways, left ways, up ways, down ways, right? But you have to get yourself out of this somehow. And in my case, for me, that meant reaching inward first to my own soul, my own spirit, and really asking myself some hard questions, and expecting answers to those questions, expecting the work to be done to get answers to those questions. And sometimes those answers were really, really hard to come by, or at least hard to say to myself. And that also pushes us into doing more spiritual work. So I was also reaching out and looking for different, modes of healing, modes of understanding myself, modes of translating what was happening to me, right? Understanding what was going on. So if that is where you are right now in this time of year, hopefully you are not in that space, but I just get this sense that we're moving into something like that. But at the same time, we're able to smile about it and move through it because we understand that there are alternative ways of healing available to us, right? And a dark night of the soul, again, it's kind of like, if I were to describe it in tarot terms, I would describe dark nights for the soul as the Tower card. Because the Tower card doesn't come in to hurt us, it actually comes in to make a change that we probably would not have made on our own, right? And it sometimes even knocks down our ego and our ways of thinking so that we can move into new ways of thinking. Okay, so that puts me to, I was going to talk about shadow work and dream work because that's something else that I've been kind of going into mode, but I think I might save that for a blog post. Let's see. So Libra season. We're moving into Libra season. We're in Libra season. So, and I feel like it's almost a perfect way of describing another part of what I'm feeling right now, which is I feel like we're in this mode of letting go, but we're also letting people know what's going on with us. We're not afraid to say, you know what, this is not in my journey right now. And I have to move on, but it's not, you're not saying it's not you, it's me. You're just saying, I have to move on. I have to move forward. And I can't let myself be defined by X, Y, Z anymore. and it's not being mean or cruel or anything like that. This is more you're dedicating yourself to, and it's kind of a balance. You're letting things, I don't want to say people, you're letting go of things that might not be things that you might even be letting go of long-standing goals in order to allow new goals to come in. That could be a thing. And it's just I say that because I just feel like that's just a perfect analogy of, it's an analogy. It's just a perfect descriptor of what's going on. Because this is the equinox, which is, a change of season, but it's also now we're in Libra season, and Libra is the sign of the scales, right? So we're balancing things out a bit in our energy. And when I say balance, it's almost as if we're like, hey, look, I can't do that old thing in the past anymore because we're in a new season. We're in a new season of, we're just in a new season. That's just it. Let's talk a little bit about Libra. I'll get out my Llewellyn's A to Z. Libra, Libra, Libra. And I invite you, what? I invite you to think about the Libra sun people in your life, that because I have some Libra friends, and every time I think of them, I just think oh my gosh, I love you guys, but you're just I just run down the list of oh my gosh, oh you're great. I love them. I love them. Let's just say I just love them. So let's see, Libra, ruler planet is Venus. Let's see. It's a masculine positive sign. Let's see what else. Symbols. Libra is symbolized by the apparently commonplace scales, but the arms of that tilting beam reach out into eternities. The position of the attached bowls, which a feather's weight may change, indicates the destinies of ages, the fortunes of empires, the estates of immortality. The equipoise of the beam marks the adjustment of mighty feuds, internal and external. Yeah. So this internal letting go that you can be going through is this also outwardly, you're like, hey, this is what's going on with me. I'm having to let go of this thing, that thing, that thing, and this is how it affects me and how it could possibly affect you. And it's very interesting that people are now being vocal about it, actually saying something about it, because it's almost like if you hang on to that idea of letting go, then you're not really sharing. And I think that kind of ties back into, I don't know if you saw my blog post about blank faces and emotional, being emotionally unavailable. It's almost as if you're acknowledging that you're emotionally available, just not for XYZ. You feel me? Okay. All right, what else about Libra? Libra rules the lumbar region in general and the kidneys in particular. Desirable characteristics: thoughtfulness, impartiality, unprejudiced, foresight, justice, grace, modesty, decorum, tact, balance. Undesirable characteristics: indecision, uncertainty, extremism, recklessness, hesitance, susceptibility, impressionability, illusion, vanity, aloofness, shirking, carelessness, and vacillation. Associations are, let's see. It is said that Libra people usually make good buyers for large concerns, have good discrimination and intuition regarding what to buy that can be sold readily, especially in seasonable goods and quickly moving items such as novelties, fancy goods, perfumes, apparel, and jewels. Yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit about Libra season, and we're heading into Libra season, and Let's see. What else? I think that's it. I mean, I can draw a card for you all. Kind of get a sense of maybe just some advice. And for some reason, I've been feeling the Wild Unknown deck. I don't know why. Do not know why. But I'm going to go ahead and call on Spirit to come into this session and maybe give us a feel for what we can expect in Libra season, or maybe even just the next few days. But either way, I call on my divine masters and teachers to come into this reading with a message of what to expect in Libra season. Thank you so much, Spirit. Okay. Oops. Woo, woo, woo. Sorry, got cards everywhere. Right into the microphone. Oh, you want me to take that one? Okay, I'll take that one. The stone. The stone. All right. Let's read about the stone and what that means for Libra season. I almost feel like, so feeling into the energy of Libra season. I'm going to feel into it real quick. Libra season feels like to me that I personally, and it might, your mileage may vary, but I'm feeling into the energy of it. And I just feel like there are going to be some days where I'm going to have to speak up and I'm going to have to shut up. And it's going to be a balance between the two. And it's funny that I just talked about a lot of stuff happening like in the throat area. We're expressing more, but we're also understanding what's internal and what should be external. So it should, Libra is also, someone who has tact. So I guess I should not blurt out things like I am prone to do. And so maybe that's also something that we can take into the season with us, is understanding discernment and tact, and when to say something and when to shush. Because sometimes, that's me. Okay, let's see. The stone. The stone. LX. I know. I should know the numbers. Okay, here we go. The stone. The eternal, the anchor, the rock. As an archetypal object, the stone holds psychic and literal weight. Its energy is one of permanence, concreteness, and reliability. The stone's ability to transform is nearly imperceptible to us. As it changes ever so slowly over countless human lifespans, a single stone may see thousands of generations come and go. Therefore, it contains an ancient and eternal presence. The stone is best used to anchor our wild side. So no matter how far we roam, we can always find our way back. The stone tethers us to earth, helping to ground and connect us to stillness, quiet, and peace. When this card appears, it is likely the stone is a remedy for what ails us. Humble and easily unnoticed, the power of the stone balances the frenzy of our world. Okay, so when the stone energy is in its light, it is steadfast, loyal, committed, and present. But when it is in its dark, it is weighted down, holding back, and cold. To go deeper, and I have to look this up because I don't know if it's a work of art or if it's a book or a poem, but Caspar David Friedrich's A Walk at Dusk. Ugh. In Jewish mourning traditions, stones are left at graves rather than flowers. Sit with this vision for a moment and see what unfolds. That's interesting. I got a hit of something about the divine feminine when it mentioned Jewish mourning traditions. So I don't know if I'm still getting vibes of that Persephone journey into Hades at this time of year again. But I feel like it's the opposite way of Inanna's journey out of her sister's kingdom, out of the underworld. I'm gonna look into that. Let's see what else. So they're also saying build a cairn in nature, and that's stone on top of stone. Find inspiration in Andy Goldsworthy's stone egg forms. So I'll try and find links to both of these, Caspar David Friedrichs and Andy Goldsworth stuff, and put it in the description. But I really would love to hear how your Pisces full moon went. If you have any new books or book suggestions, that'd be awesome. And also, what you think about the energy thus far. Just leave it in the comments. Love to hear your feedback. All right, thanks. Bye.